We've seen Joe Biden allow in 12, 15, 20 million people into the country over that 4 years. And now a lot of them have gone out and gotten commercial driver's licenses. So when they went to a sham school, they got a sham license, they're not qualified. These are 80,000 pound big rigs and they've hit the road. And now we see, because they don't know how to drive, they're actually killing Americans on these roads. So we are clamping down on the fake schools and the fake licenses. We need our states to partner with us, which is really important. I can't do it myself. I don't have like an FBI force. I need the states to help me, which they are. But even if you get your driver's license in America, we'll do a background check. We'll look at your, did you have a drunk driving? Did you, what kind of speeding record do you have? Did you have a violent criminal history? Do you have driving offenses? They just give you a license. And we see the unqualified drivers that hit the roads and again endanger Americans. We are tightening up these rules to make sure we have good drivers driving on American roads and keeping everyone safe.
Is it too much to ask there? The Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, talking about the state of truck drivers right now in our country. And, you know, I'm scared for myself. I drive the highway every day. But I got a 16-year-old son who is putting his wheels on the road to try to get from A to B. And to think that there are people who are just blindly driving down the wrong side of the road on highways here in the state of Missouri and everywhere else you might, especially in Illinois, when we know that, 1 in 5 of those CDLs issued are illegal. What is going on? Well, let's talk to Mike Wood. He's the Lincoln County, Missouri prosecuting attorney. And Mike, thank you for being on the show with us today. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Annie. Thank me for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. And you commented on the video that I shared on X about this car driving in a clip down the wrong side of the road. Mike, what can you tell us about what you know from this viral video? It's become a national news story of this truck driver driving the wrong way on a Missouri highway.
So here's what I can tell you. Obviously, that clip started to hit the rounds on social media the night that it had occurred. And I remember people were sharing it with me like, hey, this is out of control. What are you guys planning to do? And once I was able to verify that there was a law enforcement response, the morning I came in, I thought to myself, this is out of control. I mean, this tractor trailer made no attempts to slow down, stop, seek any type of help. He's going at least 55 miles an hour. And I can tell you, based on Highway 61, which happens to be one of the most dangerous highways in Missouri, sadly, someone comes over that blind hill. And then we're talking about another scenario where an entire family is killed. And that's been a nationwide story from Florida, where we have truck drivers with CDLs that are coming out of California and other states that are sanctuary states and sanctuary cities. They're giving them these licenses and they can't even read English.
Yeah.
And so it's a huge safety risk. And I remember coming in when we looked at the probable cause statement when it was turned over to our office, I was frustrated enough at how dangerous the situation was. But then when I realized that this person couldn't even pass an English proficiency exam, we were even angrier. And I remember as we were building the charge language, one thing that really stood out to me is that unless somebody is injured or there's an accident, we're constrained by 2 misdemeanors that we were able to file. And look, to the extent that we can try to get creative and get a felony level case, we certainly would. But right now we've requested a no bond warrant for this particular driver. And what was most disturbing, and I heard the secretary speaking on your clip there, what's most disturbing is in Minnesota, when these drivers are stopped, there's no social security number associated with a CDL. And so we don't have any way to track whether or not they have any criminal history. We weren't able to track any type of background. The driver at the time was unable to establish any type of meaningful evidence regarding residency, just so we could simply track who they were, what they're doing, whether they have any criminal history. And so that's kind of where we got where we're at today.
We're speaking with Lincoln County prosecuting attorney Mike Wood. It's so frustrating to know that he's got to injure or kill somebody in order for us to really be able to do something to remove this guy from the street. So what do you know specifically? You told us a lot of things that you can't know, but what do we know about this driver and about the company he was driving for?
Okay, so what we've got is initial reports from Highway Patrol. Now, mind you, we're dealing with limited evidence. What our initial reports had shown is that the driver who had been stopped turned over what was a valid CDL license from Minnesota. However, that CDL license is not tied to any type of meaningful information regarding what their background is, what their criminal history is, or anything of that nature. Then we later found out from investigative sources that this particular driver was tied to some type of almost a shell company or some type of company that couldn't legitimately really be traced. And then it occurred to me once the Secretary of Transportation was making statements as we were charging this, hey, look, we've got the State of the Union. We've got the Vice President who's going to be launching a fraud investigation into Minnesota because of all the fraud dealing with Somalis in the community and those who are illegal. And trucking and transportation is part of the facet of the billions of dollars of fraud that have been happening under the Tim Walz administration. And I want to point out, when we think about issues dealing with ICE raids, illegal immigration, sanctuary cities, well, guess what? That's not here in Missouri, at least not in a meaningful impact where we are in Lincoln County. But guess what? That's an issue that could have led to the death of an entire family who could have just been traveling on Highway 61 North. And it's just completely unacceptable. I'm glad to hear that they already suspended the CDL license of this particular driver. I wish they had just arrested him here on the spot. We'd have held him in custody to make sure we could prosecute as much as we could. But what I can say is we've notified ICE, and as long as there's a no bond warrant out, as long as he gets picked up somewhere and they're able to identify him, there will be an ICE hold on him, and potentially where he's at, we'll get an extradition as well.
So I'm stupid, so I got to ask this question to make sure I understand everything correctly here. Mike Wood, Lincoln County, Missouri, prosecuting attorney. You said, do we know that he's here? We know that he's an immigrant. Do we know that he's not a citizen? Do we know that he is deportable?
So what we know is that he has an inability to speak English and an Arabic name, and he has identification that doesn't require him to establish or prove that he is an actual citizen. We don't have any information whatsoever to prove that he is actually a citizen of the United States. If
you pulled over random 10 truck drivers that are just doing their job, would they have those things?
They should. At least my understanding from Missouri is that they're required to have those credentials in order to possess a CDL. I'm not under the impression, and I don't live or work in Minnesota, that they do not require it, and that's probably purposeful. It's also the same situation in California as well.
Mike Wood, Lincoln County, Missouri prosecuting attorney who is close to this case. So talk to me about, okay, you've told us a lot of the obstacles that you're facing right now to ensure that this guy is not going to endanger another life, that he has already, so many people who passed him. First, real quick question, was he driving on the shoulder or was he driving in the lane the wrong way?
So this was the most disturbing part, is that he was driving at what looks like maybe 45 or 50 miles an hour.
He wasn't creeping.
In the fast lane, Annie, in the fast lane. And so I was talking to my wife last night. I can't imagine a scenario where me and my family are in our car and you come over a hill and there's a tractor trailer moving at a full clip right at you. That's just a recipe for disaster. And the sad part is it could have been completely avoidable, but also let's just look at it from a criminal prosecution standpoint. This particular driver took no circumstances to mitigate this situation whatsoever. I think any reasonable person would have pulled over, stopped, called for assistance or help, but certainly putting the lives of Missouri drivers in danger is unacceptable.
Lincoln County, Missouri prosecuting attorney Mike Wood speaking with us. Do you know from the traffic stop or the conversations that they had with this driver, did he know he was driving the wrong way? Was there any sort of remorse? Is there any sort, I know that you could express remorse without having to speak English, but did he know what he was doing?
So I'm led to believe so, because when Highway Patrol was finally able to apprehend him, I think he traveled maybe 4 or 5 miles down the interstate before there was a crossover where he then crossed over into the correct southbound lanes. And that's when 2 Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers stopped him.
So he was actually apprehended on the correct side of the road?
Yes, that's right. And I will point out there was a citizen, the same citizen who filmed the entire incident, stopped and assisted law enforcement to make sure that they saw this video. He's turned that information over to them. And so we're really thankful that he did that. That's really meaningful and helpful.
Mike, do we know how he got on the wrong side of the road? Do they have the beginning of this process? Like, how do you make
I'm certain based on how well I know our partners with Missouri State Highway Patrol, I am certain that they are reaching out with federal partners to see if there's any GPS locations or if there's any information regarding where they could have potentially been coming from based on their paperwork that had to do with whatever they were delivering. They were coming from Minnesota down to Mississippi, assuming that that's not fraudulent paperwork. I don't know that we can make that assumption anymore based on what we're starting to learn about this company coming out of Minnesota.
Are we safe on Missouri roads, Illinois roads? The people listening right now in the bi-state region, are we safe?
How could I possibly say yes? I mean, look, whether or not this particular person was an illegal immigrant or not, I mean, that's one discussion, but we do have instances nationwide where we have drivers who cannot speak the English language, who somehow have a CDL and are continuing to drive, and there's no repercussions up until the point someone's killed or law enforcement is forced to have action. So how could I possibly say that our roadways could be safe?
Gosh, Mike, I cover a lot of news, but this is actually nauseating to me to talk about right now. It's just absolutely terrifying. Before we let you go, you understand the legal system, you understand how your hands are tied here and understand what's at stake. Do you have any suggestions, requests, or policies that need to be implemented yesterday, things that could actually be done to stop this right now so that we don't have any more of these issues?
Sure. I mean, obviously, it seems to me that it would be a very easy fix for Secretary Duffy, along with federal partners, to push for some type of nationwide litigation that would require the same types of background checks, the same types of proof of identification in order for everyone to be eligible for a CDL. And that's going to deal with federal issues that have interstate commerce involved. And so normally licensing issues are left up to the states, but guess what, Annie? Voting issues are left up to the states, and we're starting to see fraudulent activity there as well. And so, I recognize people are trying really hard to make sure that we have some level of consistency so that we have safety, so that we don't have as much fraud as we have. And that we're able to, continue to live our lives as Americans and be safe and have faith in our systems.
What about also dismantling any company that would hire somebody? Like, you hire somebody like this and you put them on the road, the whole thing comes down. Like, they should be held liable for putting drivers on the road that are putting Americans in danger.
I will say this, my background, my entire career for 20 years has been in criminal law. It is my opinion that there are civil remedies available to people who are aggrieved, but normally that's somebody who's going to be injured in an accident. But I do recognize that there probably are avenues that could be explored in order to shut down these types of businesses, because for a long time there were companies who were employing people who weren't legally here, and they were able to shut those businesses down. And those were some actions that were taken statewide, but I could certainly see a scenario where that could be done nationwide as well.
Well, Mike Wood, if anything develops, please reach out to me, reach out to Brad, and we'd love to have you back, because this is something that is very local now for our audience, and we want to be at the forefront of it.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get him in custody, and then I'll certainly let you guys know, and that'd be a good response.
Please do. Thank you for what you do, Mike Wood. Thanks for the time today. Take care. How's that make you feel, Ryan?
Well, get this. Right when you asked him, are we safe? Are we safe on the roads? Which is ultimately the big question. We get a text that comes in on the text line saying, just saw a tractor trailer run through a four-way stop